Termini tipu.
This was one of the remains of one of the city gates in the Servian Wall. So one of the entrance points to the Republican city right here. And it's sort of, in a way, nice how it's echoed by this gate and this fence. But obviously a point that is missed by 999 out of 1,000 people, I think. Looking at it like this is almost like seeing an aerial photograph. If we could, it would be so obvious how this area stands out entirely in the urban geography of Rome. The size of this thing is quite stupendous and also reflects the ideology of the regime, one has to say. These fascist flanks, the dimensions of this. One has to keep in mind the planned world exposition of the 1940s and the fascist project. Yes, it's big, but did it have to be this big? One can sort of try to imagine this central hall down there being a portico facade with classical columns, with a sort of open view out towards the piazza, onto the baths of Diocletian, onto the Servian Wall.
It may be nice to go back to the 18th century, when this place where we are standing now looked like this painting which was made in the late 18th century. The highest point in Rome, from where, before the station was built, of course, grand tourists flocked to have a romantic vision of the eternal city.
And things are happening very slowly, but slowly but surely they're building this so-called Terrazza Termini, parking garage. This is a place of constant transformation, which is an interesting thing to try to document in real time for historians.
This is in the main hall, central hall of Termini station in Rome, designed in the late 1940s, with the idea that when you arrived in Rome from that side, you could see on the other side, behind the big window, the remains of the Servian Wall, the first city wall of Rome from the early 4th century before Christ.
This wonderful contrast was very much the whole point of this design of this famous dinosaur-shaped arch roof. This is no longer prioritized, this meeting.
Something else is taken over, which is basically commercialization. And that's what we see here, very clearly. So here you see the design as it was implemented, very clearly with the dinosaur roof following the contours of the wall. So the idea was that the roof follows the line of the wall, so that the wall should always be visible. So that all people coming to Rome, all the millions of tourists and migrants and everybody would be confronted directly with the remains of that wall, the first sign, so to say, of Rome as a metropolis. It's very, very paradoxical to see that the wall itself is being sort of placed behind another wall, behind the fence, right? The wall is not integrated into the city. It's considered to be something that doesn't really belong here, which is very strange because, of course, this is the reason why the station has been built in this way is because of the wall.
But it's constantly changing. It's interesting how 10 years ago, when it was, well, to put it bluntly, basically a public toilet around here,
yeah,
which is now being changed into the so-called gardens of the hotel behind us, where the wall is now annexed by this hotel.
So here you see how the wall is being privatized to some extent, part of the garden of the hotel. I mean, from this side, it's actually very well kept because of the hotel appropriating this side. It's totally different on the other side, where it's neglected.
So we're now downstairs at Termini in the McDonald's restaurant.
It's very says a lot about what Rome is today.
Crazy clash of the ancient and the modern. It doesn't really get much better than this.
But this is really one of the most surreal aspects of Termini, I think. Really, some of the most ancient ruins you can find in Rome, 2,400 years old, or even more, in the symbol of modernity, global capitalism, McDonald's that has taken over.